alarm on my bedside table vibrates, a low and steady hum against the wood that pulls me from the deep, heavy sleep of the afternoon. My eyes open to a room dimmed by thick, slate-gray blackout curtains. A single sliver of sunlight, fierce and orange, cuts across the carpet, telling me that outside, the day is ending. For the rest of the city, work is concluding. For me, the day is just beginning. I sit up and stretch, feeling the vertebrae in my spine realign with a series of soft, internal pops. There is no grogginess, only the practiced, deliberate transition from rest to readiness. I place my feet on the floor, the carpet fibers cool against my skin. I stand and walk to the window, peeling back the edge of the curtain just an inch. The street below is clogged with the red taillights of commuters heading home. A river of tired people flowing toward rest. I let the curtain fall back into place, sealing the room in twilight once more. My routine is a sequence of precise movements, honed over 5 years of night shifts. I move to the kitchen, the tile floor smooth under my bare feet. The kettle is stainless steel, cool to the touch. I fill it with cold, filtered water, the liquid rushing from the tap with a consistent, clear sound. I set it on the base and press the switch. A soft orange light illuminates, and the heating element begins its quiet hiss. While the water heats, I prepare the coffee. This is not a rushed caffeine fix. It is a ritual of calibration. I take the bag of beans from the cupboard. They are dark roast, oily and fragrant. I pour a measured amount into the grinder. I press the lid down. The motor whirs, a consistent drone that pulverizes the beans into a coarse, fragrant sand. The scent of roasted earth and cocoa fills the small kitchen, masking the stale air of the afternoon. I prepare the French press, dumping the grounds into the glass cylinder. The kettle clicks off. I wait exactly 30 seconds for the water to cool slightly off the boil, ensuring it does not scorch the beans. I pour. The water swirls with the grounds, creating a thick, tan foam at the top. I place the plunger on top, but do not press down yet. I set the timer on the microwave for 4 minutes. While the coffee steeps, I move to the bathroom to shave. The mirror is clean. I run the hot water until steam begins to fog the glass. I lather the shaving cream in a ceramic bowl using a badger hair brush, whipping it into a thick, stiff peak. I apply it in circular motions, softening the stubble. The razor is a heavy safety model, chrome-plated and balanced. I pull the skin tight. The blade glides over my jawline, the sound like sandpaper on wood, removing the shadow of the day. Rinse, repeat. The result is skin that feels tight, clean, and awake. I return to the kitchen as the timer beeps. I press the plunger down slowly. The resistance is firm. The grounds are trapped at the bottom, leaving dark, rich liquid above. I pour the coffee into a heavy, double-walled travel mug. I screw the lid on tight, testing the seal with a twist of my wrist. It is secure. Now the uniform. I lay the pieces out on the bed. They are clean, pressed, and free of lint. The trousers are a dark navy polyester cotton blend, durable and resistant to wrinkling. I step into them, pulling them up and fastening the button. The zipper glides up smoothly. I thread my belt through the loops. It is a wide, basket weave leather belt, stiff and supportive. Next is the shirt. It is a lighter shade of blue, crisp with starch. I slide my arms through the sleeves. I button it from the bottom up, my fingers working nimbly. The buttons are small and pearlescent. I align the placket perfectly. I attach my nameplate above the right pocket. It has 2 pins on the back. I push them through the fabric and secure the clutches on the inside. I adjust the collar so it stands straight. I sit on the edge of the bed to put on my socks, thick wool that cushions the heel and toe. Then the boots. They are black tactical boots with a polish so deep it looks like liquid ink. I slide my feet in. I pull the laces tight, starting from the toe and working my way up the ankle, crossing the laces over the hooks with a rhythmic zip-zip sound. I tie them in a double knot, tucking the loops away so nothing can snag. I stand up and stomp my heels once, settling my feet into the insoles. I feel grounded, solid. I attach my gear to the belt. First, the radio holster, empty for now. Then the key keeper, a metal clip that will hold the weight of the museum. Finally, a small pouch containing latex gloves and a notebook. I check my reflection. The silhouette is sharp. The lines are vertical and orderly. I am ready. I grab my travel mug and my keys. I lock my apartment door, testing the handle to ensure the bolt has thrown. I walk down the hallway, the sound of my boots muffled by the corridor carpet, and step out into the evening air. The temperature has dropped. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of exhaust and cooling asphalt. I walk to my car, a reliable gray sedan parked under street lamp. I unlock it, the mechanism thumping inside the door panel. I slide into the driver's seat. The upholstery is cool. I place the coffee mug in the center console holder. It fits with a snug friction. I insert the key and turn the ignition. The engine catches immediately, settling into a low, steady idle. I check the mirrors. Rear view clear. Side mirrors angled to show the lane markers. I shift into reverse, backing out slowly, then shift into drive. The commute is a reversal of the natural flow. The inbound lanes are empty, stretching out before me like an open runway. The outbound lanes on the other side of the divider are a bumper-to-bumper ribbon of red lights. Cars inching forward, drivers exhausted from their 9 to 5. I glide past them at 45 miles per hour. The hum of my tires on the pavement is a constant, soothing drone. I take a sip of coffee. It is hot, strong, and bitter in the best way. The drive takes 30 minutes. I watch the sky transition from a bruised purple to a deep, velvety indigo. The streetlights flicker on in sections, illuminating the road in pools of sodium orange light. I pass the shopping districts, where shopkeepers are pulling down metal grates, the rattle of security gates echoing faintly. I pass the parks, now empty shadows of green. I approach the museum district. The architecture here changes. The buildings become grander, set back from the road behind wrought iron fences and manicured hedges. The library, the courthouse, and finally, my destination, the Museum of Antiquities. It is a massive structure, built of pale limestone that glows softly under the uplighting. Huge Corinthian columns line the front portico, supporting a triangular pediment filled with stone carvings of gods and scholars. It looks impenetrable, a fortress of history. I do not drive to the main entrance. I turn down a side street, lined with oak trees, and approach the rear of the building. There is a gated lot reserved for staff. I roll down my window. The air is quieter here, removed from the highway. I reach out and scan my ID badge against the reader mounted on a steel post. Beep. The gate motor engages with a heavy clank, and the chain link barrier slides open on its track. I drive through, the gravel crunching softly under my tires. I park in my assigned spot, number 4, right next to the loading dock. I turn off the engine. The silence rushes in to fill the cabin. I sit for a moment, finishing the last of my coffee, watching the steam rise from the cup and vanish against the windshield. I exit the car, closing the door with a solid thud. I lock it and walk toward the staff entrance. It is a heavy steel door, painted a nondescript gray, tucked away in the shadow of the loading bay. There is no handle, only a keypad and a card reader. I tap my card. The light on the reader turns from red to amber. I punch in my personal code, 7249. The keys are metal and have a satisfying tactile click when pressed. The light turns green. A heavy magnetic lock disengages with a loud thwack. I pull the door open. The smell hits me first. It is the specific, unmistakable scent of a museum. It smells of old paper, floor wax, climate-controlled air, and cold stone. It is a dry, preserved smell. I step inside and let the door close behind me. The magnetic lock re-engages automatically. I tug on the door handle to verify it is locked. It does not budge. I am in the lower corridor now, the bowels of the building. The floors are polished concrete. Overhead, fluorescent lights hum with a faint buzz. I walk down the hallway, my boots echoing slightly. I pass the janitorial closets, the restoration labs with their windows darkened, and the break room. I enter the security office. It is a compact room, the nerve center of the building. The air conditioning is colder here, kept brisk to protect the server racks that line the back wall. Sitting at the main desk is Marcus, the day shift supervisor. He looks tired. His uniform is slightly wrinkled from 8 hours of sitting. He sees me and nods, swiveling his chair around. "Evening," Marcus says. His voice is raspy. "Evening, Marcus. How was the day?" I ask, placing my travel mug on the side table and moving to the locker bank. "Quiet. 2 school groups. 1 delivery in the loading dock. Maintenance fixed the humidity sensor in the Egyptian hall around 2 o'clock. Everything is green on the board." I open my locker. It is narrow and tall. Inside, I hang up my car keys and my jacket. I take out my utility belt. It is heavy, loaded with the tools of the trade. I wrap it around my waist, over my trouser belt, and buckle it. The weight settles on my hips, familiar and comforting. I reach for the mag light. It is a 4-cell flashlight, black aluminum, with a knurled grip. It is cold and heavy, doubling as a baton if necessary, though it never is. I check the lens. It is clean. I press the rubber button. A bright, focused beam cuts through the fluorescent light of the room. I turn it off and slide it into the ring on my belt. I turn to Marcus. "Keys." Marcus unclips the master ring from his belt. It is a large steel ring holding 20 keys of various sizes and shapes. Some are small and brass for filing cabinets and display cases. Others are long and intricate skeleton keys for the original 1920s doors. The most important one is the Grand Master, a square-headed key that opens the internal zone barriers. He holds the ring out. The keys jingle, a chaotic melody of metal. I take them. The transfer of weight is the official start of the shift. "All yours," Marcus says. He stands up, stretching his back. He grabs his bag and heads for the door. "Have a good night. Keep it safe." "Drive safe, Marcus." The door clicks shut behind him. I am alone. I sit in the chair Marcus vacated. The mesh fabric is still warm. I adjust the height, lowering it an inch to suit my frame. I pull the logbook toward me. It is a large, bound ledger with numbered pages. I pick up a black ballpoint pen. I look at the clock on the wall. It is exactly 800 hours. I write the date in the top left corner. Under the time column, I write 2000. Under the activity column, I write shift start. Master keys received. Perimeter secure. My handwriting is small, blocky, and precise. I look up at the monitor bank. There are 12 screens, each split into 4 quadrants, displaying 48 different views of the museum. Most of the feeds are gray and black, showing dark galleries illuminated only by emergency exit signs or low-level security lighting. I scan them methodically, row by row. Monitor 1, the main hall. The marble floor reflects the green glow of the exit signs. The dinosaur skeleton in the center is a hulking silhouette. Monitor 2, the east wing. Renaissance paintings line the walls, visible only as dark squares in frames. Monitor 3, the loading dock. Empty. The gate is closed. Monitor 4, the roof. The HVAC units are spinning slowly. Everything is static. Everything is still. I reach for the radio on the desk charger. It is a Motorola handheld unit. I slide my fully charged battery into the back until it clicks. I turn the volume knob. It beeps a sharp digital chirp. I clip it to my belt holster and run the acoustic tube earpiece up the back of my shirt, hooking it over my ear. The coil is tight, but not uncomfortable. I lean back in the chair. The room is filled with the white noise of the cooling fans from the server rack. It is a rhythmic, rushing sound, like a mechanical waterfall. I need to do the initial perimeter check. This is the lockdown round. The museum is closed to the public, but the cleaning crews have just finished and left. I need to ensure every external door is bolstered, every window is intact, and every alarm zone is armed. I stand up. The leather of my belt creaks softly. I pick up a set of checklist cards, laminated sheets held together by a metal ring. I don't really need them. I know every inch of this building, but the process demands verification. I walk out of the security office and into the main corridor. The lights here are set to night mode, every second fixture turned off to save power. The hallway is a tunnel of alternating light and shadow. I approach the first checkpoint, the North Fire exit. It is a double door with a panic bar. I grip the handle and pull. It is solid. I look at the magnetic sensor at the top of the frame. The small LED light is red, indicating the circuit is closed. Secure. I continue walking. The sound of my boots on the polished floor is the only noise in the building. Step clack. Step clack. It is a slow, measured cadence. I am not patrolling yet. I am securing. I reach the connection to the main lobby. The doors here are glass, tall and frameless. I push through them. The great hall opens up before me. It is vast. The ceiling is 3 stories high, a vaulted dome of glass and steel. Moonlight filters through the skylights, painting the floor in shades of silver and blue. The air here is different, more open, slightly cooler. In the center stands the Titan, the museum's centerpiece. a cast of a Diplodocus skeleton. In the moonlight, the bones look like bleached driftwood. I walk past it, my reflection moving ghost-like across the glass of the display cases lining the walls. I approach the main entrance doors, the grand brass doors that face the street. I check the deadbolts. They are thrown. I check the floor bolts, sliding the metal rods down into the brass cups set into the terrazzo floor. I twist the locking screws to keep them in place. I move to the alarm panel mounted on the wall behind the ticket desk. It is a keypad with a small LCD screen. It reads, "System ready to arm." I type in the code for the perimeter zones. The keys beep softly. Zone 1, armed. Zone 2, armed. Zone 3, armed. The panel emits a long, steady tone for 2 seconds, then goes silent. The green ready light turns off, and the red armed light illuminates. The building is now a sealed box. If a door opens, if glass breaks, the silence will shatter. I take a deep breath. The air is still. The dust motes dancing in the moonlight seem suspended in time. I head toward the escalators. They are turned off, frozen stairs leading up into the darkness of the second floor. I choose to walk up them rather than take the elevator. I like the physical act of climbing, of ascending into the history stored above. My hand glides along the rubber handrail. It is cool and smooth. I reach the landing of the second floor, the medieval gallery. Here the shadows take on shapes. Suits of armor stand in glass cases, holding halberds and swords. The moonlight catches the curve of a helmet, the polish of a breastplate. I walk down the center of the aisle. I do not rush. I look at the locks on the cases. Secure. I look at the humidity monitor's digital readouts, glowing faintly red. 45%. Perfect for steel and leather. I walk to the far end of the wing, to the heavy oak door that leads to the administrative offices. I try the handle. Locked. I take the master ring, find the silver key with the blue dot, and insert it. It turns smoothly. I open the door, peek inside the corridor. Dark, empty. I close it and lock it again. I continue my round, moving from the medieval gallery to the hall of ceramics. The floor changes from wood to carpet. My footsteps become silent. Thousands of eyes watch me, painted eyes on Greek vases, hollow eyes of clay figurines. I check the fire extinguishers, ensuring the pressure gauges are in the green. I check the emergency strobe lights. I reach the West Wing, the modern art section. The shapes here are abstract, jagged shadows against the white walls. I check the rear service elevator. I press the call button. Nothing happens. Good. The service elevators are locked out for the night. I descend the back stairwell, the concrete steps echoing with a sharper sound. I hold the rail, descending 2 flights back to the ground level, then 1 more flight down to the basement level. The basement is where the physical plant lives. The boiler room, the electrical room, the storage archives. I open the door to the boiler room. The noise is immediate, a low, powerful rumble. 3 massive boilers sit like sleeping giants, wrapped in silver insulation. I check the pressure gauges. The needles are steady. I check the floor for leaks. Dry. I move to the electrical room. Rows of breaker panels line the walls. The transformers hum with a high-pitched vibration that I feel in my teeth. The smell of ozone is faint, but present. Everything is operating within normal parameters. I return to the corridor and head back to the security office. The walk back feels different. The building is buttoned up. It is secure. It is mine. I enter the office and sit back down at the desk. I look at the clock. 8:45. The initial lockdown took exactly 45 minutes. I open the logbook again. 20:45. Perimeter lockdown complete. All external doors secure. Alarm zones 1-4 armed. HVAC nominal. No anomalies. I pick up the radio and press the transmit button just to test the frequency. Control to central, I say, my voice low. A second later, the dispatcher at the remote monitoring station downtown responds. The voice is tinny in my earpiece. Central copies control. Signal is 5 by 5. Have a quiet one. Roger that. Out. I lean back, the chair creaking softly. The monitors bathe the room in a cool blue light. I pick up my thermos and unscrew the lid. I pour a small amount of coffee into the cup cap. Steam rises, curling in the blue light. I take a sip. The museum is sleeping. The city outside is winding down. Thousands of people turning off their lights, locking their doors, and drifting into dreams. But here, amidst the artifacts of civilizations long gone, I am the watchman. I look at the camera feed of the Egyptian hall. The stone sarcophagus sits motionless in the dark. It has been there for 3,000 years. It is not going anywhere. I settle in. The night stretches out before me. A long, quiet road of hours to be filled with the rhythmic click of boot heels and the silent communion with history. I am awake. I am ready. The shift has begun. The shift officially begins not with a bang, but with a series of distinct mechanical clicks. It is 11 o'clock at night. The museum has been closed to the public for 6 hours, and the cleaning crews have just departed, leaving the polished terrazzo floors gleaming under the emergency lighting. The air inside the grand rotunda is cool, conditioned to a precise 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and it carries the faint, sterile scent of floor wax and old stone. I stand at the security console, the nerve center of the building, preparing for the first full circuit of the night. This is the morning of my shift, the time when the mind is clearest and the body is most ready to move. The lethargy of the day has been washed away by a hot shower and the crisp night air during my commute. Now I am purely an instrument of observation. My utility belt is heavy, a familiar weight settling against my hips. It is a dense, woven nylon web, stiff and supportive. I run my hands along the circumference, checking the placement of each tool by touch alone, a ritual of muscle memory. On my right hip sits the radio, a Motorola handheld with a textured, rubberized grip. I lift it from its holster, feeling the resistance of the clip, and turn the volume knob at the top. It offers a satisfying resistance before clicking on. A short burst of static washes through the earpiece I have looped over my left ear, followed by the clear, calm voice of the dispatch center conducting the hourly roll call. I press the side button. The rubber depresses with a firm snap. I speak my code, clear and low. The confirmation comes back instantly. The channel is open. The link is established. Next to the radio is my flashlight. It is not a small plastic thing, but a machined aluminum cylinder, anodized in matte black. It is cold to the touch. The barrel has a knurled pattern, a cross-hatching of diamond shapes cut into the metal to ensure a perfect grip, even with gloved hands. I slide it out, enjoying the smooth friction of metal against the nylon pouch. I press the tail switch. It has a long travel, a heavy spring that requires deliberate pressure. Click. A focused beam of pure white light cuts across the dim console desk. I inspect the lens for dust, wipe it with a microfiber cloth from my pocket, and slide the light back into its home. Finally, the keys. The master ring. This is the anchor of the job. There are 12 keys on the ring, each one brass or steel, their edges worn smooth by years of turning in tumblers. They jingle softly, a metallic chime that will accompany me for the next 8 hours. I clip them to the retractable tether on my belt. I give the wire a test pull. It zips out smoothly, 24 inches of Kevlar cord, and snaps back with a quiet thwack. I am ready. The first task is the perimeter lock check of the Grand Rotunda. The museum is a fortress of neoclassic stone, and the front doors are massive, oak-paneled slabs reinforced with steel cores. I walk across the open floor, my rubber-soled boots making no sound on the marble. The acoustics here are incredible. During the day, they amplify the chatter of hundreds of tourists, but at night, they amplify the silence. The silence feels heavy, like a velvet blanket draped over the architecture. I approach the main entrance. There are 3 sets of double doors. I start on the left. I take the largest key from my ring, a long silver key with a square head. I insert it into the deadbolt of the first door. The mechanism is well oiled. The key slides in with a glide that feels like a piston entering a cylinder. I turn it to the right. The tumblers inside the lock align. Click, 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 and the bolt engages. I feel the solid thud of the steel rod sliding into the doorframe. It is a sensation of absolute closure. I pull the key out and press my shoulder against the wood, testing the lock. It is immovable. I move to the center doors. Insert, glide, turn, thud, test. Then the right doors. Insert, glide, turn, thud, test. The rhythm is hypnotic. It is a physical confirmation of safety. With each turned bolt, the separation between the chaotic outside world and the ordered interior of the museum becomes more absolute. I am sealing the vessel. I turn away from the doors and face the rotunda. The shadows of the Corinthian columns stretch long across the floor, cast by the streetlights filtering in through the high clear-story windows. I unclip the RFID wand from my belt. This is a black, baton-like device with a silver tip, used to log my patrol electronically. I walk to the small, coin-sized button mounted discreetly on the wall near the security desk. This is the first checkpoint. I press the silver tip of the wand against the button. A tiny red LED on the wand flashes once, then turns green. A soft beep echoes in the hall. The system has logged my presence. 11:15 p.m. The patrol has begun. I move toward the East Wing, home to the Ancient Civilizations exhibit. The transition is palpable. I leave the echoing openness of the rotunda and enter a corridor carpeted in a dense, plush wool of deep burgundy. The air changes here. It is drier, controlled by rigorous humidity systems to preserve the fragile papyrus and linen wrapping of the artifacts. Walking here is different. The carpet absorbs the energy of my stride, making the movement feel fluid, almost floating. I draw my flashlight. I do not point it straight ahead, but sweep it low, scanning the floor, then the corners, then the display cases. The beam catches the glass of the vitrines, creating momentary flares of white light. I stop at the first major display, the sarcophagus of a minor noble. It rests in the center of the room, encased in a seamless box of tempered glass. My job is to inspect the seal. I lean in close, the flashlight beam narrowing to a tight circle. I trace the edge where the glass meets the pedestal. I am looking for anything out of order, a crack, a shift in the silicone seal, a speck of dust that shouldn't be there. The glass is pristine. The cleaner has done excellent work. There are not even streaks to catch the light. I move to the side of the case where the humidity sensor is mounted. It is a small digital box with a gray, liquid crystal display. The numbers are black and sharp against the gray background. 45%. I pull a small notepad from my breast pocket. It is a spiral-bound notebook with waterproof paper. I take my pen, a metal-bodied ballpoint with a pressurized cartridge, and click the top. I write the time, the location, and the humidity reading. The pen glides over the paper with a scratchy, tactile friction that vibrates up through my fingers. Writing these numbers is not strictly necessary, as the digital sensors log directly to the server, but the manual log is a fail-safe. It forces me to look, to process, to acknowledge the reality of the environment. It is a ritual of mindfulness. I click the pen closed and replace it. I holster the light. I move on. The flow state begins to set in. This is the zone where time ceases to be a burden and becomes a fluid medium through which I move. The museum is a series of loops and checks, a complex geometry that I know by heart. I know exactly how many steps it takes to cross the Hall of Statues, 42. I know that the floorboard near the Grecian urn creates a soft creak if I step on the left side, so I step on the right. I know the way the air currents shift near the ventilation returns, cooling the back of my neck. I enter the Hall of Armor next. This is a favorite of mine. The room is long and narrow, lined with suits of plate mail standing guard in eternal vigilance. The smell here is distinct gun oil, iron, and leather. It is a masculine, sharp scent. I bring the flashlight up again. The beam plays over the curved surfaces of polished steel breastplates and visors. The light ripples across the metal like water. I am checking the mounting wires. These suits are heavy, suspended by high-tensile cables that are nearly invisible. I approach a suit of Japanese samurai armor. The lacing is silk, dyed a deep indigo. I lean in, inspecting the knots. They are tight, undisturbed. I check the sword, the katana, resting on the rack. The peace tie, a small loop of cord that secures the hilt to the sheath, is intact. I give the display case a gentle tug to ensure it is locked. The glass rattles almost imperceptibly against the frame, a solid, secure sound. I verify the checkpoint button on the wall. Touch, beep, green light. Moving deeper into the building, I approach the maintenance corridor that runs behind the main galleries. This is the backstage area, the skeleton of the museum. The floor changes to sealed concrete, gray and smooth. The walls are painted a utilitarian white. The silence here is different. It is filled with the hum of machinery. I can hear the rhythmic chugging of the air handlers, the lungs of the building. They push thousands of cubic feet of filtered air through the ducts every minute. I stop at the fire control panel. It is a large red box covered in gauges and lights. This is a technical check. I scan the array of small LEDs. They are all glowing a steady green. A yellow light would mean a fault. A red light would mean an alarm. It is a sea of green. I check the pressure gauges for the sprinkler system. The needle on the main riser gauge sits perfectly steady at 120 psi. I tap the glass face of the gauge with my fingernail tink, just to make sure the needle isn't stuck. It doesn't move. The pressure is holding. I continue down the corridor. My boots squeak faintly on the polished concrete. I reach the rear exit door, the one that leads to the loading dock. This is a critical vulnerability point. I grab the crash bar, the horizontal metal bar that spans the width of the door. I push against it. It should be locked from the outside, but openable from the inside. But for tonight, I am checking the deadbolts that secure it completely. I look at the top and bottom rods. They are engaged. I verify the magnetic contact sensor at the top of the frame. The two halves of the magnet are perfectly aligned, touching. If the door were even a millimeter ajar, the circuit would break and the alarm panel would show a fault. It is seamless. I turn back, retracing my steps to the gallery. The transition from the stark brightness of the utility corridor back to the shadowed mystery of the museum floor is jarring for a second, then soothing. My eyes adjust instantly. I head up the grand staircase to the second floor. The handrail is wide, carved from mahogany, cool and smooth under my palm. I slide my hand along it as I ascend, feeling the grain of the wood. 1 flight, 2 flights, the landing. The second floor houses the 19th century European paintings. The Impressionists. The lighting here is kept very low to prevent fading of the pigments. I switch my flashlight to its low power setting. The beam softens, becoming a warm halo rather than a piercing lance. I walk slowly past the frames. Gold leaf glimmers in the periphery of my vision. I am not looking at the art, not really. I am looking at the physical objects. Is the wire secure? Is the canvas hanging straight? I pause in front of a large landscape. I can smell the age of it, varnish and canvas. I take a deep breath. The air is still. I check the motion detectors mounted in the corners of the ceiling. A tiny red light blinks on the sensor unit every time I move. It sees me. I see it. We are acknowledging each other. I reach the far end of the west wing. Here lies the door to the archives, a restricted area that requires a higher level of clearance. I reach for the ID card on a lanyard around my neck. It is a hard plastic card with a magnetic strip and an embedded chip. I hold the card up to the black reader box mounted on the wall. Beep. The light turns green. I hear the heavy electromagnetic lock disengage with a loud clack, followed by the hiss of the pneumatic closer releasing. I pull the heavy door open. The archives smell of paper dust and vanilla, the scent of lignin breaking down over centuries. It is the most comforting smell in the world. Rows of mobile shelving units stand like monoliths in the dark. I do not walk down every aisle. That is for the deep patrol later in the shift. For now, I walk the central aisle, shining my light down the gaps. The shadows of the crank handles on the shelves create geometric patterns on the floor. Everything is still. I check the temperature logger on the wall. 65 degrees. Perfect for paper. I exit the archives, letting the door close behind me. The magnet engages again. Thud click. Locked. I check my watch. It is a heavy diver's watch with a luminous dial. The hands glow a pale green in the dark. 11:55. The first loop is nearly complete. I make my way back toward the central rotunda, taking the route through the Hall of Gems. This is the most secure room in the building. The walls are reinforced. The glass is ballistic-grade polycarbonate. As I walk, I am hyper-aware of the floor. In here, there are pressure sensors under the carpet. I have to walk on the designated path, a strip of flooring that is marked only on the internal schematics, though I know it by heart. If I step off the path, the silent alarm trips in the control room. I place my feet deliberately. Heel toe, heel toe. I am walking a tightrope that lies flat on the ground. The gems in the cases catch the stray light from the exit signs and my passing flashlight. Deep blue sapphires, fiery opals, cold clear diamonds. They sparkle in the dark, awake while the world sleeps. I check the glass. I check the seals. I check the cameras. There are more cameras here than anywhere else. I look up at the black domes on the ceiling. I give a small nod. I step out of the Hall of Gems and back onto the marble of the rotunda. I have come full circle. I walk back to the security console. The chair is high-backed, mesh ergonomic. I sit down, the gas cylinder sighing as it takes my weight. I place the flashlight back on the desk, standing it on its lens so it doesn't roll. I unclip the RFID wand and place it into its docking cradle, connected to the computer. The computer screen flickers as it downloads the data from the wand. A progress bar fills up blue, steady. Upload complete. A list of checkpoints appears on the screen. Every single one is marked with a green checkmark and a timestamp. Rotunda, 11:15 p.m. Egypt, 11:22 p.m. Armor, 11:30 p.m. Maintenance, 11:38 p.m. European art, 11:45 p.m. Archives, 11:50 p.m. Gems, 11:55 p.m. The symmetry pleases me. The timing was perfect. I pick up the logbook, a large bound ledger that stays on the desk. I open it to the current date, I smooth the paper with the side of my hand. I pick up the pen again. Under the entry for the start of the shift, I write in neat, block capital letters. 0000. First patrol complete. All secure. Perimeter locked. Systems normal. I set the pen down. I lean back in the chair. I take a sip from my insulated water bottle. The water is ice cold. The museum breathes around me. The refrigerator in the break room hums. The monitors emit a low-frequency buzz that is almost below hearing. The radio on my hip gives a soft chirp, just a system check from the network. I look at the bank of monitors. 12 screens, each showing a different grayscale view of the empty halls I just walked through. I see the armor, the paintings, the statues. They are safe. They are watching the dark, and I am watching them. The morning flow is established. The jitters of the commute are gone. The stiffness of the day is gone. There is only the rhythm. The next hour will bring the same tasks, the same walk, the same checks. But the repetition is not boring. It is deepening. It is polishing a stone. I rest my hands on the cool laminate of the desk and watch the timestamp on the monitor tick over. 0001. The new day has technically begun. The night stretches out before me. A long, quiet road that I know how to navigate perfectly. I am the keeper of the quiet, and everything is exactly where it should be. The digital clock on the security console reads 2 in the morning. This is the anchor point of the night, the fulcrum where the shift tips from the late evening into the deep, quiet stretch of the early morning. It is time for the scheduled pause. I do not leave my post abruptly. Even the act of taking a break requires a protocol, a series of small, deliberate movements that ensure the museum remains secure, even while I step away. I reach out and toggle the switch on the main control panel. It is a satisfying, heavy switch that moves with a solid mechanical thud. This transfers the primary alert feed to the handheld unit, clipped to my belt. The screens in front of me remain active, casting their cool blue glow across the desk. But the audio alerts will now travel with me. I stand up. My joints pop softly, a familiar release of tension after hours of sitting. I adjust my belt, feeling the reassuring weight of the flashlight, the keys, and the radio. I slide my chair back, the wheels rolling smoothly over the anti-static mat. I align the chair perfectly with the desk edge. A tidy workspace is a vigilant workspace. I pick up my thermos and my lunch container. They are stacked neatly to the side of the monitors. I walk out of the main security office, the door sealing behind me with a magnetic clack that echoes briefly in the corridor. The walk to the break room is a journey between worlds. I leave the high-tech hum of the control center and step into the velvet silence of the grand hall. The moonlight filters through the high glass dome above, painting long, pale rectangles on the polished marble floor. My boots are rubber-soled, designed for stealth and comfort. They make almost no sound, just a faint, rhythmic squeak that is absorbed instantly by the vastness of the room. I pass the statue of the discus thrower. In the daylight, he is surrounded by tourists and noise. Now he is alone, frozen in eternal concentration. I nod to him as I pass. We are co-workers of a sort. We both hold our positions in the silence. I turn down the service corridor, located behind the Egyptian wing. The atmosphere changes here. The marble gives way to industrial linoleum, waxed to a high shine. The air is slightly warmer, smelling faintly of floor cleaner and old paper. This is the heart of the building's infrastructure, hidden away from the public eye. I arrive at the break room door. It is a plain beige metal door with a small reinforced window. I swipe my badge against the reader. The light turns green. I push the handle down and step inside. The break room is a sensory reset. It is small, bright, and functional. The lighting here is fluorescent, a stark contrast to the moody shadows of the galleries. It hums with the life of appliances. The refrigerator cycles on with a low, vibrating purr. The vending machine in the corner emits a soft, electric buzz. I place my lunch container on the round white table in the center of the room. I set my thermos down beside it. I unclip the radio from my belt and place it upright on the table, turning the volume knob down just enough so that static is inaudible, but a voice call would still be clear. I place the handheld monitor next to it. The small screen shows the cycling camera feeds, a miniature version of the world I just left. I take a seat. The chair is simple, molded plastic, but it offers a different posture than the office chair. I lean back and exhale, long and slow. This is the lull. I begin the ritual of the meal. I brought a stew tonight. It is a hearty beef and barley stew, prepared specifically for the sustainment required on a night shift. I walk to the microwave and place the glass container inside. I press the buttons. Beep, beep, beep. Start. The microwave begins its rotation. I stand before it, watching the plate spin. I do not check my phone. I do not look at a magazine. I simply wait. There is a meditative quality to the waiting. I listen to the fan whirring. I watch the steam begin to rise inside the chamber, fogging the glass door. When the timer ends, the machine chimes. I open the door, and the aroma hits me instantly. Rosemary, thyme, savory broth. It is a grounding scent, warm and domestic, pushing back against the sterile smell of the museum archives. I carry the hot container back to the table, using a folded paper towel to protect my fingers. I sit down. I open my thermos. It contains black tea, kept at a scalding temperature. I pour the amber liquid into the steel cup that serves as the lid. Steam curls up in delicate, swirling ribbons, disappearing into the fluorescent light above. I pick up my spoon. It is a heavy, stainless steel spoon I brought from home. I dislike the flimsiness of plastic cutlery. I want to feel the weight of the tool in my hand. I dip the spoon into the stew. The first bite is a study in temperature. The heat spreads through my chest, chasing away the chill of the air-conditioned galleries. The barley provides a pleasant, chewy resistance. The vegetables are soft. I eat slowly. There is no rush. The museum is not going anywhere. The artifacts have waited thousands of years. They can wait for me to finish my dinner. I take a sip of the tea. It is bitter and clean. It sharpens my senses. As I eat, I look out the small window on the far wall of the break room. It faces the rear alleyway of the museum. It is raining outside. I can see the raindrops streaking against the glass, illuminated by the security light mounted above the loading dock. They look like streaks of molten silver. I watch the patterns they make. Some drops merge and run down quickly. Others cling stubbornly to the glass. I am safe inside. The building is a fortress, and I am in its keep. The separation between the wet, chaotic world outside and the dry, ordered world inside is absolute. I appreciate the thickness of the walls. I appreciate the complexity of the locks. I finish the stew. I wipe the container clean with a piece of bread, ensuring nothing is wasted. The crust of the bread crackles softly as I break it. I eat the last piece, savoring the texture. I stand up to clean my station. I walk to the sink. I run the water until it is hot. I wash my container and my spoon. The sponge creates a soft, foaming lather. I rinse the soap away, watching the bubbles swirl down the drain. I dry the items with a paper towel, wiping until the steel of the spoon shines and the glass of the container is streak-free. I place them back in my bag. The meal is done, but the break is not over. I have 20 minutes remaining. This is the time for maintenance. I sit back down at the table and unzip the front pocket of my gear bag. I remove a small zippered pouch and a microfiber cloth. It is time to inspect my equipment. I start with the flashlight. It is a heavy-duty tactical light, machined from aircraft-grade aluminum. The black anodized finish is cool to the touch. The knurling on the handle is rough, providing a perfect, non-slip grip. I unscrew the tail cap. The threads are smooth and well-oiled. They turn with a silent, gliding precision. I inspect the rubber O-ring that seals the battery compartment. It is intact, flexible, and free of dust. I take the batteries out. They are heavy, dense cylinders. I check the contacts. They are clean. I slide the batteries back in. 1, 2. They slide into the tube with a pneumatic sigh as the air is displaced. I screw the cap back on. I twist it until it meets resistance, then give it one final, firm quarter turn to lock it in place. I depress the button on the tail cap. Click. A beam of intense, white light hits the far wall. The circle is perfect. There are no dark spots. The lens is clear. I turn it off. Click. Next, I pick up my keys. This is the master ring. It holds the keys to the internal doors, the maintenance closets, and the administrative offices. There are 15 keys in total. I lay them out on the microfiber cloth. They are brass and steel, their edges jagged with the unique codes of their locks. I pick up the cloth and begin to wipe them down, one by one. I remove the oil from my fingers, the dust from the pockets. I polish the brass until it gleams under the break room lights. There is a deep satisfaction in caring for these tools. They are the extensions of my will. They allow me to pass through walls. They allow me to bring light to the dark. If I take care of them, they will not fail me when I need them. I check the key ring itself. It is a braided steel cable with a screw lock. I test the screw lock to ensure it is tight. It is secure. The keys jingle softly as I gather them up, a sound like wind chimes made of solid earth. I clip them back onto my belt. I look at the clock on the wall. It is now 2:40 in the morning. I have time for one last task, the organizational task. I pull a small, leather-bound notebook from my pocket. This is my personal log, separate from the official digital reports. I use it to track observations, small anomalies, and maintenance requests that do not require immediate escalation. I open the book to the bookmark, a thin ribbon of red silk. The paper is cream-colored and smooth. I take my pen from my shirt pocket. It is a metal click pen with a fine point and black gel ink. I click the pen. I write the date at the top of the page. I write the time, 2:40 a.m. Break concluded. Perimeter secure. Rain continues. My handwriting is small and blocky. I focus on the shape of each letter. The vertical lines are straight. The curves are consistent. The ink flows onto the paper without skipping, leaving a dark, wet trail that dries instantly. I reflect on the first half of the shift. I recall the flickering light I noticed in the East Wing corridor. I write it down. East Wing, Corridor 4. Overhead track light fixture 3 is flickering intermittently. Request bulb replacement. I recall the sound of the HVAC system in the modern art gallery. It seemed slightly louder than usual, a faint rattle in the vent. Modern art gallery. Vent above the abstract sculpture. Low frequency vibration detected. Check filter seating. Writing these things down clears my mind. It externalizes the details. I do not have to carry them in my head anymore. They are captured on the paper, safe and recorded. I am freeing up mental bandwidth for the second half of the night. I close the notebook. The leather cover feels soft and worn under my fingertips. I slide it back into my pocket. I clip the pen back into place. The break is drawing to a close. I can feel my body shifting gears. The digestion mode is ending. The vigilance mode is re-engaging. I stand up and push the chair back under the table. I align it perfectly, just as I did with the chair in the control room. I check the table surface. It is clean. I check the floor. It is clear. I have left no trace of my presence. I pick up the radio. I turn the volume knob back up to the operational level. It gives a quick squelch of static, then settles into silence. I clip it to my belt. I pick up the handheld monitor. I glance at the screen. The cameras are still cycling. The museum is still sleeping. I walk to the door. I place my hand on the handle. Taking a breath, I prepare for the transition. I am leaving the bright, warm, small box of the break room. I am returning to the vast, cool, shadowed cathedral of history. I press down on the handle. The latch retracts with a sharp metallic snap. I open the door and step out into the hallway. The air is cooler here. The smell of the floor wax greets me again. The hum of the refrigerator is cut off as the door closes behind me. I am back in the silence. I stand for a moment in the service corridor, letting my eyes adjust to the lower light levels. I blink slowly. My pupils dilate, taking in the shadows. My hearing expands, reaching out to the corners of the building. I can hear the rain drumming on the roof, far above. It is a distant, soothing rhythm, a white noise that blankets the entire structure. I begin the walk back to the control center. My steps are purposeful. The brake has done its work. My legs feel fresh. My mind is clear. The heaviness of the midnight hour has lifted. I walk past the loading dock entrance. I check the door handle as I pass. I do not need to, but I do it anyway. I grip the cold metal lever and pull. It is locked tight, solid, immovable. I continue down the hall. I re-enter the grand hall. The discus thrower is still there, still waiting. The shadows have shifted slightly as the moon has moved across the sky, but the silence remains the same. I approach the security office. Through the glass walls, I can see my desk. The monitors are glowing, a beacon of blue light in the dark. They are waiting for me. I enter the office. The air is filtered and cool. I walk to my chair. I sit down. I reach out and toggle the main switch on the control panel. The heavy thud of the switch returning to its primary position is the final note of my break. The audio feed transfers back to the room's speakers. The hum of the hard drives becomes the dominant sound once again. I place my hands on the desk. The surface is smooth and cool. I look at the screens. Camera 1, Camera 2, Camera 3. All clear. I am back at the helm. The ship is steady. The night continues. I am ready for the hours that remain. The digital clock on the console wall shifts silently from 3:59 to 4 o'clock. This is the beginning of the final descent, the slow and steady glide path toward the end of the shift. The museum feels different at this hour. The heavy, settled silence of the deep night begins to lift, replaced by a subtle, anticipatory energy. The building knows that the sun is approaching, and my role shifts from guardian to custodian, preparing the space for the waking world. I pick up the heavy, black flashlight, feeling the cold, machined aluminum against my palm. I do not turn it on yet. The emergency track lighting provides just enough amber glow to navigate the corridors, and my eyes have long since adjusted to the gloom. I stand up from the ergonomic chair, enjoying the stretch in my lower back, and adjust my belt. Every clip, every key ring, every pouch is exactly where it should be. My final round is the most detailed of the night. It is not just about security. It is about presentation. I leave the control room, the door clicking shut with a solid mechanical latch sound behind me. My boots strike the polished terrazzo floor of the central rotunda. Step, step, step. The rhythm is slow, deliberate. I am not rushing to leave. I am savoring the completion of the work. I head toward the East Wing, home to the 19th century collections. The air here is kept slightly cooler, a precise 68 degrees, to preserve the oil paintings and heavy velvet tapestries. I stop at the entrance to the gallery. I take a moment to breathe in. The air smells of floor wax and old canvas, a dry, dusty, comforting scent. I move to the humidity monitors, mounted discreetly near the floorboards. I kneel on one knee, the fabric of my uniform trousers stretching taut. I press the small gray button on the side of the digital reader. The screen illuminates with a soft green backlight. 45% relative humidity. Perfect. I take out my small notebook and my ballpoint pen. I click the pen open. I write the time 4:10 and the reading 45%. The ink flows smoothly, leaving a clean, dark line on the paper. I click the pen closed and clip it back into my breast pocket. Moving down the long hallway, I inspect the velvet ropes. During the day, crowds can jostle these stanchions, shifting them out of alignment. I approach the first post, a heavy brass cylinder topped with a round finial. It is slightly askew. I grip the cold brass with both hands. It is heavy, weighted at the base. I lift it just a fraction of an inch and set it down, aligning it perfectly with the seam in the floor tiles. I move to the next one. Lift, aligned, set. The velvet rope between them creates a perfect, symmetrical swoop. It is a small detail, but satisfaction comes from the geometry of it. I reach the Hall of Sculpture. This is my favorite room to check in the pre-dawn hours. The statues, white marble and dark bronze, stand motionless in the shadows. I walk the perimeter. My task here is to check the uplights. I approach the control panel, hidden behind a false wall panel near the emergency exit. I slide the panel back. It moves on well-oiled tracks, revealing a row of breakers and dimmer switches. I reach out and slide the master dimmer up, just to test the circuit. Slowly, the room begins to glow. Beams of light shoot up from the floor, catching the chin of a Roman senator, the outstretched arm of a dancer, the folds of a marble toga. I watch the light play across the stone surfaces, looking for any flickering bulbs or dark spots. The illumination is steady. The light is warm and clean. Satisfied, I slide the dimmer back down to its night setting, plunging the room back into its protective gray twilight. I slide the wall panel shut. Click. It is now 4:45. I make my way to the grand foyer. This is where the day begins for the public, and it must be flawless. The floor here is vast, a sea of polished stone. I walk to the main information desk. It is a sweeping arc of mahogany. I run my hand along the surface. It is cool and smooth, but I spot a smudge near the telephone, likely left by the evening staff. I pull a microfiber cloth from my utility pouch. I do not use spray. The cloth alone is enough. I fold the blue fabric into a neat square. I apply steady, circular pressure to the wood. Round and round. I can feel the friction reducing as the oil from the smudge is lifted away. I wipe until the mahogany shines like glass, reflecting the exit signs above. I refold the cloth and tuck it away. I move to the glass doors of the main entrance. There are 8 of them, tall and imposing. I check the locking bolts at the bottom of each door. I crouch down. I verify that the steel pins are fully extended into the floor sockets. I give the first door a gentle push. It does not budge. I move to the second. Solid. The third. Secure. I repeat this process for all 8 doors, a rhythmic ritual of verification. Push, check, move, push, check, move. The perimeter is inviolate. By 5:15, I am back in the control room. The physical work is done. Now the digital cleanup begins. I sit down and wake the computer monitors. The screens hum to life. I open the nightly log file. It is a spreadsheet with rows for every hour of my shift. I begin to type. My fingers find the keys instinctively. The sound of the keyboard is a rapid, soft clatter, like rain on a tin roof. I document the humidity reading in the east wing. I document the lighting check in the Hall of Sculpture. I note that the perimeter check was completed and that all secure points are holding. I type out a brief note for the morning supervisor about a flickering bulb in the second floor hallway, identifying it by its serial number so maintenance can find it easily. I review the text. No typos, no ambiguity, just clear, concise data. I move the mouse, the cursor gliding across the screen, and click Save. A small progress bar fills up instantly. The file is stored. The night is recorded. I close the window and open the email client to send the handover report. I attach the log. I type a standard greeting to the day shift team. I hit send. The message sent notification appears. A small banner of accomplishment. At 5:30, the sky outside the security camera feeds begins to change. The deep ink black turns to a bruised purple, then a steel gray. The streetlights outside flicker off, one by one. The city is waking up. I see the headlights of a car pull into the staff lot on monitor 4. It is Miller, the morning guard. He is early, as always. I watch him park, turn off his lights, and step out of his car. He carries a thermos and walks with a brisk, morning energy. I pick up the ring of keys from the desk. I stand and wait by the employee entrance door. I hear the buzzer sound, a short, sharp tone. I look through the peephole to confirm it is him, though I already know. I turn the thumb turn on the deadbolt. It retracts with a heavy clunk. I depress the lever handle and pull the heavy steel door open. Miller steps in, bringing with him the smell of cool, damp morning air and fresh coffee. "Morning," he says, his voice gravelly but cheerful. "Morning, Miller," I reply. "Quiet night. Humidity is good. One bulb out on the second floor, logged it." "Sounds good," he says. We walk together to the control room. I unclip the main master key from my belt. It is the only key that stays with the station. I hand it to him. The metal is warm from my body heat. He takes it and clips it to his own belt. The transfer of authority is complete. The museum is his now. I go to the locker room. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. I open my locker, number 12. The metal door swings out on squeaky hinges. I sit on the wooden bench and begin to untie my boots. The laces are thick and strong. I loosen them rung by rung. I pull my left foot out, then my right. The release of pressure is immediate and blissful. My feet expand, breathing in the cool air. I peel off my uniform shirt. folding it carefully, even though it will go into the wash. I place it in my gym bag. I put on my personal clothes, a soft gray cotton t-shirt and loose sweatpants. The fabric feels impossibly light compared to the structured uniform. I slide my feet into my sneakers. They feel like clouds. I close the locker. I spin the dial on the combination lock. 0, 10, 20. It clicks shut. I walk out of the locker room, past the control room where Miller is already settling into the chair, and head for the exit. I push the door open and step out into the morning. The sensory shift is profound. Inside, the air was conditioned, filtered, and still. Outside, the air is alive. It is cool, crisp, and carries the scent of dew on the ornamental grass, and the faint, acrid smell of distant city traffic. The light is pale and blue. The sun has not fully breached the horizon, but the world is illuminated. I walk to my car, parked in the corner of the lot. The dew has settled on the windshield, a layer of thousands of tiny, perfect beads of water. I unlock the door and slide into the driver's seat. The car is cold, but it is a private cold. I turn the key in the ignition. The engine catches immediately, settling into a low, steady idle. I turn on the wipers. Swish, swish. The glass is cleared. I pull out of the lot and onto the main avenue. This is the best part of the commute. I am driving against the flow. In the opposite lanes, cars are packed bumper to bumper, red taillights stretching out in a long, frustrated ribbon. People are gripping steering wheels, checking watches, rushing toward stress. But my lane is empty. It is a wide, open road of gray asphalt. I drive at a steady 40 miles per hour. The tires hum against the road surface. The suspension absorbs the minor bumps. I do not turn on the radio. I do not need music or news. The hum of the engine and the rhythm of the road are enough. I watch the city slide by, the bakeries rolling up their metal shutters, the joggers waiting at crosswalks, the steam rising from manhole covers. I am a ghost passing through their morning, an observer heading towards sanctuary. The drive takes 20 minutes. I turn into my neighborhood. It is quiet here, the suburban streets lined with trees that are just beginning to catch the first golden rays of the actual sunrise. I pull into my driveway. I put the car in park. I turn the key. The engine cuts out. Silence rushes back in to fill the space. I sit for a moment, listening to the ticking of the cooling engine. I gather my bag and step out. The walk to the front door is short. I unlock the door, the key sliding into the lock with familiar ease. I step inside and lock the world out behind me. Home. The smell is specific laundry detergent, old books, and the faint trace of vanilla from a candle burned days ago. I drop my keys in the ceramic bowl on the table. Clink. I hang my jacket on the hook. I head straight for the kitchen. I am not hungry for a heavy meal, but my body needs a signal that the day is done. I fill the electric kettle with water and flip the switch. I hear the water begin to agitate, the low rumble growing to a boil. I take a mug from the cupboard. I place a single bag of chamomile tea inside. The kettle clicks off. I pour the water. The steam rises, curling in the morning light, filtering through the blinds. I let it steep. While the tea cools, I go to the bathroom to wash away the shift. I turn on the shower, setting the temperature to hot. I undress and step under the spray. The water is a physical weight, drumming against my shoulders, running down my back. I scrub my hands with a bar of rough, exfoliating soap, washing away the feel of brass keys, plastic keyboards, and cardboard boxes. I close my eyes and let the water run over my face. The tension in my neck, the vigilance I hold in my posture for 8 hours, begins to melt. It swirls down the drain. I dry off with a thick, heavy towel. It feels rough and grounding against my skin. I brush my teeth, the minty foam sharp and cleansing. I put on clean boxers and a fresh, oversized t-shirt. I am clean. I am soft. I am ready. I take my mug of tea and walk to the bedroom. This room is my fortress. I have invested heavily in this space. The walls are painted a deep, soothing slate blue. But the most important feature is the window. I walk over and pull the blackout curtains closed. The effect is instant. The bright morning sun is extinguished. The room plunges into a deep, cave-like darkness. It is not pitch black, but a heavy, restful shadow. The world outside, the traffic, the construction, the leaf blowers, is muffled and distant. I pull back the duvet. The sheets are percale cotton, cool to the touch and crisp. I sit on the edge of the mattress. It sinks slightly under my weight, a memory foam embrace. I finish the last sip of tea, feeling the warmth travel down to my stomach. I set the mug on the nightstand. I swing my legs up and slide under the covers. The weight of the duvet settles over me, a heavy, protective layer. I adjust the pillow, punching it once to get the perfect loft. I lay my head down. My ear presses against the cool fabric. I close my eyes. My body feels heavy, sinking into the mattress. My legs, tired from walking the marble floors, throb with a dull, pleasant ache of exertion. I let my muscles go loose. I start with my toes, unclenching them, then my calves, my thighs. I unclench my hands, letting the fingers curl naturally. I drop my shoulders away from my ears. I relax my jaw. In the darkness, my mind begins to replay the highlights of the shift, but not in a way that keeps me awake. It is a review of success, The click of the lock, the perfectly aligned velvet rope, the clean shine of the mahogany desk, the green light on the humidity monitor, the file saved, the door locked. Everything is secure. The museum is safe. My duty is discharged. There is nothing left to check. There is nothing left to watch. The responsibility has been passed on. My breathing slows. In, out, in, out. The sound of my own breath is the only thing I hear. It is a slow, rhythmic tide. The darkness behind my eyelids begins to soften, turning into swirling patterns of gray and blue. The bed feels like a raft, drifting on a calm, dark ocean. I am warm. I am safe. I am done. The thoughts become fragmented, losing their edges. The image of the Roman statue in the Hall of Sculpture appears for a second, bathed in amber light, then fades into the dark. The sound of the rain on the skylight from the start of the shift echoes faintly, a soothing white noise. My body gives one last twitch, a final release of energy, and then settles into total stillness. The line between waking and sleeping blurs. The heavy, sweet gravity of sleep pulls me down into the quiet, down into the rest I have earned. And then there is nothing but the peace of the deep, dark drift.